Hello everyone, and welcome to Curse of Strahd with Ready Steady Crit. Today, our party are still in the werewolf den to the northwest of Lake Baratok after encountering several werewolves left here and then a hunting pack who came back to find their den in disarray. They have defeated the majority of the foes that lay before them, and now it is relatively safe. They have rescued 8 of possible 9 children of varying ages, the youngest being about 7 all the way up to about 12 or so. And they are planning, with their companions, Ismark the Lesser and Esmeralda the Avenir, to head east towards the Tower of Van Richten, where Esmeralda has also been using it as a small base of operations in her time here. So, with the Tome of Strahd acquired, and several things taken from the Shrine of Mother Night, the sun has begun to set. Evening is upon you. You have a train of children, and I believe you're planning on heading east in the hope to,
the conga line.
Yep. Are you going to try to ford the river?
Not sure.
Take the north bank of Lake Baratok. Esmeralda will tell you the werewolf in particular headed north. The werewolf kind of headed in like this direction. She said, like heading along the hillside.
I guess we're just gonna follow her.
I think we should probably go the quickest route to the tower. I'm feeling tired.
I agree with Lux.
So,
Maxo, just as it's traveling around, we're gonna go out to the kids. Just say some time. I was gonna go around to the kids and ask the kids where they're from, like individually. So Max just wants to know more or less like where the kids were taken.
sure. Max, just do me a general persuasion check, just from these kids. Like they are. I mean, it doesn't take a medicine check to know these kids are very much in shock. But just to see if you can, like, even get them to focus enough to tell information. Like, Seeker was struggling to get them to, like, wash themselves clean, you know?
Would it be with advantage because he's as short as them?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Fuck, why did I close this damn window?
So we're using Beyond 20. So, D&D Beyond.
Let's see. Do you want me to roll on D&D Beyond, or do you want me to roll on?
If you've got the browser extension set up, it'll roll it automatically in there. Just make sure you've ticked the roll on Beyond option so it synchronizes your rolls.
Yep. It said, what do you want? You want persuasion?
Persuasion, yeah.
Got it. Boom.
That's perception, but you know.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I'll take the 17. What's your persuasion bonus?
It's +2 anyway. +2.
Alrighty.
That's why. Yeah, it's +2 as well. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So, like, with a 19, like, you spend, like, a little bit of time just as you guys are kind of moving along the shores of this lake, and the fog is just, like, clinging to it, and it's a bleak place, and the children just scared, and, like, you hear them, but everything's, like they're constantly looking around for, you know, wolves or werewolves or anything like that. They're terrified. And Max, in this time, you're trying to, like, you know, just get what you can out of them, like, you know, a little bits of information here that you're not being too, like, intense. You're trying to, like, you know, relate to these kids as much as you can. And as you're sort of asking around, they're from all over the Sword Coast. There seems to be, obviously you already know that Kellen is from Liam's Hold, which is like a small place near the Misty Forest, which is kind of just to the east of Daggerford. Where you guys sort of kind of started your adventure. There's the youngest two, like, one of them doesn't seem to be able to get themselves to speak, but the other one kind of points, is like, me and Egan are from Daggerford. We don't know how long we've been here. And there's this, like, a young little girl, like, she must be, like, 7, like, just terrified. People from Waterdeep. There's one, the oldest one, a girl called Rita, is from Neverwinter. Places like Thornhold. Like, they're not... These people aren't from, like, just a small cluster of places all grouped together. They are from a vast spanning journey across the Sword Coast. where you guys have kind of, would call home in a sense.
Fine. So there's none of them has got like a home in Barovia. They're like all full, like all.
They're
everywhere.
all from not outside this plane. And if you ask, like, how did you get here? They'll say they were
Yeah,
kidnapped or taken or by the werewolves.
Yeah, that was gonna be my that was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
So do the kids remember, like, okay, so they were kidnapped by the werewolves, but do they remember how? Were they like in Sword Coast, or they were teleported here and then they were kidnapped?
The youngest, literally just says, like, probably Giddy, the one from Daggerford, probably mentioned she was like, we were playing outside the city walls. It was getting late, I guess. We stayed out a bit too late. They just grabbed us and put us in a sack, and then we when we could see again, we were in these cages.
No, don't worry, kids. Don't worry, children.
I want my mum.
It'll be fine now.
Why did they take you? Did they say in particular?
Kind of like looking around. Probably the oldest one, Rita, just goes like, well, they kind of said that there was going to be a competition and the winner would get to live. So we luckily didn't have that. Kellen did it. He was the group before us. He went up. He came back covered in blood. And Kellen's just being like, not a word. And Kellen's the boy who you already know has been turned.
Ah, very well.
I assume we're walking and talking at this point.
Yeah, you're moving along the shores of Lake Baratok. It's just you kind of reach the point where the mouth of the lake, after about 20 minutes or so from the cave, they're at like the mouth of the lake, and you can see the tower. It's only maybe like a quarter of a mile across the lake. Like you could swim it theoretically, but the lake does turn into a much narrower river, which would be a lot easier to wade through. Just like another 15 minutes down. And if you even went another like 20-25 minutes to the roadside, you could get back on the main road and cross via a bridge to stop yourselves getting wet. And it is getting like into the evening, so it is getting a bit colder. At this point, you're probably around. I was going to move Callan for a general reference, but you're probably around this point.
Cool. And then
I'll stack you all, actually.
As you know, as Maxon is walking the kids and the party, just like Callan said, just walking, talking. He would also ask the kids about if they heard the war of discussing anything, in particular related to Strahd or anything like that.
They kind of like think from one, and as soon as you say like werewolves, like just it's almost like they have like panic, looking around, checking, and nothing I can remember, and just say the same like no, I remember, and just
Okay.
Can I insight that to see if they do remember but just don't want to say?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that as well. If that's okay.
You can make either 2 inside checks.
I will help Callum.
Perfect. It's Callan's
I
making
look
an
at Callum's
advantage.
like, kind of give like a little look like.
25, Callan. Yeah, you kind of like look at these kids, and it's not. They might know more. They might legitimately not. Like it is quite difficult to tell. Maybe some of them do. Some of them probably don't. But there is definitely a fear of like, it's kind of like that thing of like, if you tell anyone about this, I'm gonna like give you a good beating. Like that kind of like fear kind of kicked in instinctively there, and they were like looking around, making sure no one would even be around to hear the suggestion that they might have heard something that they could even tell you guys. But maybe if you get them somewhere safe, maybe.
Cool.
Convince them that they're safe somewhere, perhaps.
I don't think I'll mention that in front of them. I'd
Yep.
probably during the journey just kind of steal each party member away and just update them as to what I'm thinking about.
Beautiful. All right, so are you guys going to try to ford the river, or are you going to just grow all the way to the bridge? It's like an extra 5. It's an extra like 20 minutes to go by the bridge, really.
I mean, honestly, how large is the lake to forward?
The lake itself is about a quarter of a mile, which would be quite a swim to the tower. But the river itself is much less. It's just like
river, sorry, missaid. Yeah, this part here.
If I look back, do I see the city on fire?
You can't see it from this direction, but you don't see like a pillar of flame by any means. You don't see a smokestack, but you don't have direct line of sight because there's a big Kresek's built on the side of that mountain, that hill as well, like that mountainous hill. So like even if you could see through the trees, or you'd be blocked by the actual mountain itself.
Yeah. Would we? We wouldn't like hear like a large dragon flying about still, or
You can do me a perception check if you want.
sure, yeah. Just 'cause I'm so worried it's gonna come back this way. Where is it? Perception.
And just while he's doing that, Callan will probably be suggested to the rest of the group that we have a choice really between over the river and the bridge. The bridge will be more exposed because it's the, probably the expected route for people to be to-ing and fro-ing. Could be Strahd, could be wolves, could be people from Kazan that are fleeing potentially down this way that we don't want to run into. But equally, when we've got the kids with us, it's quite a large group of them, and for us to get them all over the river, if we want to keep them alive, may be difficult. And then I think on that point, he'll turn to the kids like, how many of you can swim?
Of them, maybe about 4 hands go up.
Maybe Max could throw the children across.
What? Actually, how heavy are the kids, and how long how long how long is the river?
The rivers aren't small rivers. They're like mountain. This is like a mountain lake, and this is like where all the water leaves it via. It's about 100 foot wide, so it is quite a journey, and even quite a throw. You know, like a throw would be any more than 20 foot would be impressive for a child.
I mean, you can try. Go for it. We have 30. You can try at least once.
I know
For
it's
legal reasons, we do not advocate tossing kids on this stream. Just
For
for the
legal
record.
reasons, that's the joke.
I know it's probably not the wisest of decisions, but maybe just going to the bridge might be the best. You know, for the
Yes.
kids.
So
Okay, but if we see anyone from Kazan, we're going to have a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
What was this? It's a massive bag.
Cheers, Lux. Thanks for agreeing.
But you know, I'm sure we can hear them.
As you guys are like summarizing this, Lux, and you're looking around, like trying to find like this smokestack potentially, like from the city, or any sign or any beating of wings. You don't hear anything like that, but you do notice kind of like just tucked into the sort of like copse of trees a little bit. You see something that like it's like an old like grave marker, looks like, and it looks like the ground hasn't been disturbed around it. Like it looks like it's just like an old wooden cross bound with a bit of like leather strap together. And you see like a symbol of the Morning Lord probably hung over it with like an amulet, like an old holy symbol. It looks like it's been battered by weather. It's been here for ages.
Where's that? Sorry, is it close?
It's within like 25 foot of you guys at the minute. It's just kind of like tucked into the trees, like as in like it would get a good. It's the idea of like, you know, it's like overlooking this like river flowing past, and like, it just gets a little glimpse of the lake, but it's a little bit secluded. It's not like going to be found by a fisherman trudging around kind of thing.
Okay, I probably would go up to it just to investigate.
Sure.
we mean grave rob.
And
No.
if you are investigating, I would help you. I'd definitely be coming with you because God knows what you're doing.
I mean, you can just give me a general investigation check if you want, or if you want to try do a nature check instead, try to work out how long it's been here, or like, or
Yeah, I'll do a nature check to see.
Sure.
I'll point out the grave. And I'll just go on, flat roll.
Can I do an investigation check too?
you can investigate check. So,
Yeah.
That's 14. It's probably been here quite a while. The grass has grown back over the dirt. So the likelihood is whoever actually buried this person here probably did it a significant amount of time ago. Like it's not like it's fresh, you know, topped up dirt. Like this is not a fresh grave.
Is it-
Callan, a quick look around. Again, there's no left shovels or anything like that. There's no real obvious sign. The actual grave marker itself, it doesn't have any writing or anything on it. It's just got that like holy symbol, like just kind of wrapped around the center point to keep it like propped up.
Maybe it's just one of the church's experiments gone wrong. Maybe.
Maybe.
Perhaps, or maybe Lux. I don't know if you have your special eyes that you can have a look at this with to see if there's anything that particularly pops out to you.
Well, yes. And I'll just cast detect magic with my eyes again.
Yep.
Little magic eyes.
Yep, you look around. The holy symbol doesn't really give any glows of any more than you expect, like a holy symbol to. It's not like innately magical. It requires, a spell to be channeled through it to be useful. As for the grave itself, you don't detect anything under the dirt. But I think you've only got a range of like 3 foot with that. So if it was a standard dug grave, you probably wouldn't be able to detect anything anyway.
Nope. Nothing special here.
I mean, who would dig up and who would hide away valuable things in the ground? Here of all places.
Well,
People who don't want them found? It's a bit of a confusing question.
but I don't like going through graves, so I'd rather not.
Yes, let's not get into that habit, because sooner or later the grave dwellers could start end up robbing us. We wouldn't want that.
I agree.
Let's keep walking, and
Beautiful.
Callum will start to head back to the group.
Yep. So, bridge, or are you going to try to ford this 100-foot?
I think the plan is head towards the bridge, send somebody ahead to check it out, potentially seek it, make sure that there's no people either fleeing from Kresik or waiting for an ambush, and then get everybody else there.
I can check ahead and see if there are werewolves, bandits, more fucking children.
Sure. So, Seeker, you kind of like break away from the party and move like 5 minutes ahead, like just keeping Joseph in sight, probably, because of the way the river bends, you can actually keep in line of sight.
Yeah.
And with your passive perception, just a brief look around, I mean, there's still things like the bloodstains from the earlier battle that you guys had here, like on the way to Kresik, that are now like, beginning to like dry. They're not sodden or anything, but you don't see anything like boot prints or hoof prints or anything like traipsing through the blood. Like it looks like no one has probably crossed by here, or at least if they have, they've literally avoided the pools of gore that you guys left behind on their way. But there's nothing immediately standoutish for your passive perception.
Let me just look around, perception check, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Can I help him?
I think he went up on his own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he went to scout room, didn't he? Okay, fine.
There we go. 14. I rolled it twice. Take the first one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. With 14 again, it's the same. It's your passive, so you don't notice anything different.
Very well. And he's gonna burp his way back.
Yep.
I mean, you could just wave us forward.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, he's not that smart. He'd go fucking back.
Sure.
As soon as he starts heading back, we'll head to meet him.
Yep.
To not waste time.
Yeah, of course, you press on. You cross over the bridge at the Raven River Crossroads. You don't encounter anything strange there, and then you continue on your way. I'm assuming you're going to stick to the road.
Yeah, I figured. I think so.
I see you make the road be visible. For some reason, that's popped away. Yeah, so you're going to sort of just wind your way around. Okay, so it takes about an hour or so to go all the way around to reach where you are now, which is this as you sort of like come to like through the a small parting in the trees, and Ezreal is kind of leading you there. You kind of come to this like cold mountain lake that you've like been pacing around now, and like from this side you can see the rocky like hills and bluffs around it more clearly, because they're not like it's a lot more open in this like sort of like area. And the thick fog is still just creeping across these dark, still waters, and the trail ends at this grass-covered causeway that stretches about 100 yards across the lake to this flat, marshy island with a stone tower on it. The tower is old and decrepit, with collapsing scaffolds clinging to the side where a large gash has split the wall. You see time-worn griffin statues, their wings and flanks just covered in moss, perched atop buttresses that support the walls. And parked near the base of the tower within sight of the entrance is 2 wagons, one barrel-topped and splattered with mud, and the other, the wagon you recognize to be Van Richten's or Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders wagon, which lies quiet. This is the place.
Go
ahead.
Do you have the scroll? I don't feel too comfortable with a fucking blood moon rising.
Sure, hang on. I'm going to have to go into the wagon. And you see, as you sort of get close to the wagon, it's like covered in mud. But despite that, it still sports like a fresh coat of like bright purple paint underneath. Its wheels have this like fancy gold trim. From the corners, like where the horse would be attached, you see like these like a brass lantern hanging from each corner. Red drapes cover a tombstone-shaped window on each side, preventing you from looking in. And a steel padlock secures the back door, hanging from which you see a cheap wooden sign, like strapped on 2 chains to kind of like stop it from being easily axed. And it just says, "Keep out." And you kind of notice that Esmeralda does not go for the back door. She instead goes prone on the ground, crawls under the wagon on her back like a mechanic, and you hear something shift, and then she just like just climbs inside from underneath. And then you hear things like ching 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 ching. Whoa, careful. Ding 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 ding. And then like eventually the doors like just open up, and you notice behind her there's like 2 massive flasks of alchemist fire, like just like they were rigged up to blow this thing apart. And then looking around inside, you see this actual wagon itself is just like filled to the brim with a variety of goodies. She literally like very much like the Matrix film, where like she like grabs one wall and like pulls it down, and like it's like crossbow, like silver bolts all along it, like just like ridiculous like arsenal. And she pulls it up one like and just like just scrolls are here, and she pulls out a small box, opens it up. She produces a scroll. It's like, and this is yes, that's remove curse. Whoever is going to be casting it on him. Lux, you said you're capable.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, she'll give it to Lux.
I'm gonna ask her if she's got like a long sword or something, like silver, made of silver. Does she? Or maybe like an axe.
I have a battle axe.
Is the battle axe the one is versatile?
Yeah.
Wait, isn't Battle Axe a small one?
Yeah, it's a one-handed. It's a versatile. So 1d8 with one hand, 1d10 with 2.
Okay, I'll ask.
You'd be best off with a spear. You'd be that your best weapon would be a silvered spear, because you can do your polearm stuff with it.
Yeah.
Silver spear would be the same as the pole armor, no? It'd be the same as a quarterstaff, no?
Yep.
It'll just do piercing damage instead.
You'd be one the
And you can't silver a.
Yeah, you can't silver a quarterstaff. Yeah. Yeah, if you like look around properly in this place, like she has like a battle axe, a flail, a morning star, a light crossbow, and then 10 silvered crossbow bolts. There's a wardrobe like pushed up into like one corner, like tucked away, which is like closed. She has a series of like various kits and things. You see like almost like a small mirror set up, like a boudoir, like with like a disguise kit set there. Callan, you probably would recognize. And then like just like a few other things just stacked up there. There's a nice lyre like resting in one corner. There's a wooden cage that holds a live chicken in it. And there's like a little collection of chicken eggs next to that. Looks like the chicken has been laying. She wouldn't have that on show. There's pots and pans everywhere made of copper, which obviously used to cook. Shovel kind of like mounted to the wall. A wooden chest that contains the symbol of the Morning Lord, which is where she pulled out the scrolls from. It looks like there's probably other things in there as well. She also produces, for the first time ever, a map of Barovia. Wow, holy fuck, guys, we finally found it.
Oh, so that's the place.
Yeah, this is the one area the map of Barovia can be found.
Only one place.
This would have come in handy 15 sessions ago.
Yeah, so now you guys have a full understanding of the things like the Amber Temple is marked on there. Everything you could possibly want to know about the land of Barovia.
Yay! Finally.
At last.
So I will say for that notice, if you are curious what the Amber Temple is, the Amber Temple is down here. That small entrance of the cave right at the south of the map. That's marked as the Amber Temple on her map. This bridge here is marked as the Tashenka Pass. Those are areas you have not been yet. And I think the rest of the areas you actually have already explored. So you already know pretty much where everything was. You've been almost everywhere. been all over this place. And yeah,
Uh,
she'll
Or
Sorry, I'm actually out there for me. Say again. Is that my internet? Oh yeah, it's just.
No, it's back to me.
I think it's your internet.
Yeah, because we've been to Mount Baratog.
yeah, yours. Just
For me, it's Max's connection.
Yeah, Max's connection seems to be the issue.
Ah.
At least on my end. Oh no, things good. You back? Because I'm seeing Callan is frozen on my screen admittedly. No, he's moving. Callan's just being very still. You're just like a statue. I was like, Callan's froze.
He's a weak
Right, you don't
angel.
get a figure like this by moving unnecessarily. That's all I'm saying.
You're so still, you become virtually invisible to the human eye.
It could be my internet. My internet is fucked. I actually got this today.
So we
It's back,
haven't been
boys.
to...
So I can pull the internet from my living room all the way to my room.
It's gonna be like an old mining tunnel. It's gonna be wires hanging from the fucking ceiling.
You will be, you will be.
It's just
I
gonna,
measured. I did about 30. I measured. I did about 30 meters of cable to run. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Alright.
I keep it there. I was gonna say. So we have the sword. We have the book. What's the other thing we need? Had something. We need something else.
You have it all.
Don't need it, yeah.
Got everything.
Oh, we've got
Sword, book, and
the
holy
symbol.
of
The
kind.
holy symbol. Yeah. So we got a sword, the holy symbol, and but
The last thing was the warning on when we're going to meet Strahd.
has anyone
Yeah.
read the book? Oh yeah, we read the book.
Have you all read it? I mean, this is probably a decent time as any. Like Esmeralda will say, if you want, I can get us inside. It looks like Van Richten is here.
Who is? Oh no, he met Van Richten.
Van Richten.
Rictavio, our favorite guy who sneaks into our the locations you're at, the half-elf man,
The one I
Remember?
nearly killed with my...
the one that Opal gave an
that's-
amazing performance of.
the
If,
one I nearly killed.
Yeah, she's like, the tower itself is magically warded. If you get too close, you seem to be unable to cast magic. So do the remove cursing out here first before we get too close.
Almost forgot. Please.
Tell me about
somebody.
it.
He like comes over.
Sit down. Sit.
Walk. It's,
Go. Right. Okay, I can do this. You
will
just
it hurt? Question mark.
go.
Takes
A lot.
one action. You touch Seeker, and just like a small burst of energy washes over. The scroll turns to ash in your hand, and Seeker, you feel that kind of like impending sense of doom, and kind of just lift.
Thank you.
See? Easy.
He like gets up, he looks around. I don't feel that different. Strange.
You wouldn't. Should feel normal, if anything.
I think it's been
Yes,
some time since he's felt any version of normal. But anyway, should we kind of nod to the tower?
Of course. And she will head over towards the door. Now, as you guys kind of get closer to the door itself, you see the tower door is made of iron. There's no visible handles or hinges. And in the middle of the door, there's this large embossed symbol. Connected to a series of lines with 8 stick figures set around it, and carved into the lintel above the door is a singular word, Kazan. And I'm just going to pull you guys onto Van Richten's Stars map.
Kazan.
We've heard that word before, haven't we?
Shazam.
I think the Sun Sword has mentioned Kazan, probably.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll have a little chat with the Sun Sword. Be like, Kazan,
Kazan.
talk to me.
You get a sense of anger and a sense of theft, a sense of being wronged by a Kazan.
So it's like a name of someone. Is that someone's name?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
And she will go up to the door, and she literally will just kind of like take a little stance, kind of take a little deep breath. She's like, don't laugh. If I fuck this up, this is going to suck for a lot of us. And she is going to begin doing a series of seeing if I have actually a good handout for you of the door. There we go, handout to our door.
Oh,
When
no.
she says that, I want to step like 10 feet back.
Seeker's chilling there, like, what could go wrong? It's just
Oh,
a
no,
door.
not puzzle.
if,
no.
if this is something that's going to be a check-based that Esmeralda's doing, Callum would be giving her a bardic inspiration, but not.
Perfect.
She's not rolling anything.
It's
Yep.
a Dance Dance Revolution, the door.
Literally. So Esmeralda starts herself in kind of like a two hands up position. She then drops one. She then drops the other. She then puts both arms out. She then puts both arms down. Both arms up. Both arms down, and both arms out. And as soon as she does so, the door just creaks open. Come on.
That's
So dancing.
good dance. But it's a funny thought of Esmeralda of all people, the badass,
Yeah.
just lightning bolting werewolves for breakfast.
It's not time for dancing. What are you doing?
I'm getting us inside. And as the door kind of opens up, you see lying before you. I don't think you actually have Esmeralda's vision. So I will have to move probably one of you guys in here as well to get a good view of the actual tower base itself. And just, I'm not putting down 8 children markers. I'm just going to move Seeker up a little bit because he'll be able to grant you guys a vision of the inside at least. And I'll pull him back. Esmeralda will step inside, and there's essentially a like a small curtain drawn, and she throws it open. And you see in here the flagstone floor strewn with debris. You see a few old crates standing near the east wall. This torn curtain to the south, partially obscuring the tower's vestibule. And this 5-foot square indentation in the center of the floor contains 4 pulleys attached to the taut iron chains that stretch up through a similarly sized hole in the rotted wooden ceiling. And standing next to the chains are 4 tall clay statues. And they're all kind of arms out in front of them, one over the other.
Looks very homely.
Looks pretty secure.
It is. Now, here, and she will move towards the elevator. And she'll be like, only one of us can really use this at a time, so it'll take some time. Would anyone like to go first?
Would it be smart
I'll go.
for you to go
I'll go.
first? Just in
Probably.
case Von Richten's up there. I don't want him to start slashing and dashing.
Good call. She stands on the thing and she just goes, top. And the golems all in unison reach out a hand.
Very slowly.
It is really slow. It is not even a smooth ride. It rises or lowers at 5 foot every 6 seconds. Its movements are jerky. And it just kind of shakes around. You can just crates and stuff as well in this room. And she probably takes a little bit of time ascending to the top. Leaving you guys kind of at the bottom with the kids.
I remember when I was watching Ready Steady. What's it called again? The one with Perkins.
Nice camera action. We're ready.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and I remember they were in this bit. I can't even remember exactly what happened because it's such a long time ago. But I remember it was taking a piss of how slow the lift is.
Yeah, it's not fast. I mean, to give you guys a rough idea, the tower itself is about 80 foot tall, and there's 20 foot between you and this next layer. So even her just getting from the ground floor to the next floor takes 24 seconds. It's not a quick thing.
Does it have elevator music?
It can if Callan wants to sing. He's the only bard in the
So
party.
if you are in combat, how long would it take to use the lift?
It moves 5 foot around. So if you're going, so if you're going, assuming you're going up to the top floor, it could be several. It could be minutes, a minute of solid, just on the lift.
God, you'd be stuck in there for the whole combat, pretty much.
Imagine.
After about
I will start playing some elevator music on my horn.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
is this the only way up and down?
That's exactly the song that I was thinking.
Yeah. The children seem to like. A few of them seem to like enjoy it a little bit. They kind of like helps take the mood off this
I think I
bleak,
can play
horrible
it.
area.
I think I can play it. Wait, I think I can
Oh, it's very
actually
good.
can play it.
It's a great performance. It's riveting. It makes the slow elevator like not seem to take as long. You can like lose yourself in the moment.
That's one more.
So after about fucking hell, he's gonna be up there for a while. After nearly like a minute and a half, you hear the golem stop, and then you hear ground, and then and another minute and a half. The thing is all the way down again. And from upstairs, you guys immediately hear heated discussion in common. Like, you're like, what are you doing here? You're going to ruin everything. I came here because I was worried about you, old man. But what the fuck do you think you're doing trying to take this thing on your own? I know what you did. I know you're upset. You should not have come back here, Esmeralda. You have doomed us all. And just like this horrible... And then there's still this downstairs. Just like over this like heated debate and
like Secret's bobbing his head like
awkward, like it's a awkward fucking like lift. Wait, okay.
eventually
You can't even stop, like just.
When he hears the argument breakout, can he go to
Yeah. Just mixing it up. Definitely.
and you just hear like a vase bash into the
On the phone. It's the phone ringtone.
Who is next? They seem so happy to see each other.
Perhaps I could go. I'm used to breaking up. Well, let's just say softening and ameliorating arguments between passionate people. Even if
I've never met the man, so I'd rather not go up.
So,
Yeah.
when you go upstairs, is there a weight issue? That's why can only one person go. Is a space issue?
It's a space issue. So the elevator itself, it's only like a 5-foot square platform. Like 2 people could probably squeeze on it, but like I mean, the thing was so rickety. Like maybe there is more reason to that.
Can we carry? Could someone carry Max on their shoulders?
Probably couldn't carry Max. You could definitely carry like a child
See,
because they're a little bit smaller.
child.
I mean,
Max has all his equipment and gear and stuff. So
perhaps we should just make sure that everything's okay at the top floor before we start bringing the whole school up.
Very well.
And plus, Max is
Come
built
on,
like a little
kids.
steam train.
hold your pairs. Go on. Hold
yeah,
hands,
they're all
your
holding
pair.
hands.
Make pairs, just like go
Yeah.
through.
And I think at this point, anyone who uses like magic, I mean, even like Callan, like things like the Sun Sword, once you got like inside, whereas before you had that constant communication, that thing of like hate this place, like this place is awful. The second you got within like, I think it's like 5 foot of the tower itself. Let me just double check. Whenever you got within 5 foot of the front door, the Sun Sword, dead silent, nothing to be heard from it at all. If you tried to summon it, nothing happens.
Right, so like an anti-magic field.
Precisely.
Nice.
Would
That is the
affect,
same,
like, your
and it's not a
capacity?
hard ability. Yeah,
Or just-
any spells, any magical effects are suppressed here, as if you were in an anti-magic field.
Right. So for example, like if I use like runes and stuff, like as rune knights, would that stop working as well?
It depends. It's an anti-magic field spell, so it would be if it would be affected by that, then yes. I'm not 100% how Rune Knight interacts with anti-magic field because I've never seen it before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a feature, isn't it? It's not-
Yeah, it's
I mean,
spells and other magical effects. So like if it's a magical effect, then like maybe not. But if it just says you like get bigger, it doesn't say the word magical in it, then it's fine.
Oh, so it has to say
If it says like you magically grow to the size large, then that won't work because it's magic. It suppresses magic.
Got it.
I feel useless in here.
Secret just laughs in a monk.
Oh, yeah, so you can use magic runes. That's it. So it's not gonna work.
No, if it's magical, it doesn't work. That's
Yeah.
Okay.
general.
It's a general. If it is used as magic, or if it describes itself as magical, it would be unusable here.
Cool. So it's not gonna work then because it's magic runes. So
Yeah.
fine.
That's only within, like, only inside and within 5 foot, though. Like, the second you're outside the tower, they return to normal. Let me see.
I guess when the platform lowers to the bottom, Callan will get on.
Yep.
On his own.
Okay, Callan, you start ascending up, and again, this thing takes increments of time. After about 24 seconds, you find yourself on the second floor of the tower. You see dust and cobwebs fill this otherwise empty room. And the floor that, like, you're rising up through, you can see it's, like, badly rotted, and it's even, like, partially collapsed. I'll move Callan up to that level so we can actually get a good look in. So Callan, you kind of see that before you.
Oh yeah, he's definitely still playing the music.
Oh yeah, as he goes all the way up.
Maybe a bit softer.
Yes, he goes up like. Like I just imagine her Max and looks at all the 30 children just bobbing their heads in unison.
Just that.
Max is fucking Max in his school bus.
Max would be the
Come
most
on, kids, let's go.
driver.
Yep. So Callan, you pass by that one, and again, I mean, it doesn't take, you know, any kind of thought to imagine that floor is probably very weak. Like if you stepped on it or jumped on it, probably would be at risk of falling through. Just to bear in mind.
Cool.
As you continue on up, trundling along, the third floor, you see time and elements have all but destroyed this chamber, leaving a gash in the northwest wall and slimy black mildew on the walls. And again, the wooden floor here, it's even worse. It's like completely like falling away and like rotting. This one, but you can still see there's a scaffolding on the outside and the building was like split. But you keep just trundling and trundling higher and higher. Until eventually, you find yourself on the top floor. And you see Esmeralda's in here with Van Richten, who is currently hidden on the GM screen. Just give me a sec. And they are still having this heated debate just between themselves. Let me just get him. There we go. So yeah, they're still having this heated debate just between themselves. And unlike the levels below, this room shows like signs of like habitation. It still stinks of mold and mildew, but it has like, you know, plenty of creature comforts. There's like a cozy bed, a desk with a matching chair, bright tapestries, a large iron stove with a big stack of wood next to it. You see light entering through these arrow slits that kind of like flank it on all the sides, like on the northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest sides of the building, and then the kind of wider windows on the actual compass points northeast, south, and west. There's like old wooden rafters like bending under the weight of the tower roof, which has somehow remained intact despite all these years. And you see mounted to the rafters around pulleys are like these big iron chains that support the tower's elevator platform. And standing kind of propped up next to the desk is this big suit of armor. And you also notice there's a chest at the foot of the bed. And there, Van Richten and Esmeralda are just talking back and forth. And they appear to be... You've come in, and they haven't even stopped to acknowledge that you have reached the top. Like, they're so enthralled in their own problems right now.
Callan will step off and say ground.
Yep.
Send the lift back down.
You send it back down? Sure. So, the lift will take an extortionate amount of time again, because, you know, this lift is horrible. It begins clunking its way back down towards the bottom. So while that's happening, I will assume that, like, I mean, Callan, a quick look around here. It's not the biggest place in here. The likelihood is you're imagining you're probably going to have some people sleeping up on the 4th floor or something if you're trying to rest here, and perhaps some people sleeping down on the ground floor as well. Because at least the ground floor wasn't at risk of collapse. It was a bit cold and wet because of like the exposed like crack in the tower, as opposed to up here, which you imagine once the lift is pulled all the way to the top, you imagine it can get quite snug in here because there's no like breakages or anything. It's all sealed.
Cool. So in Callan's mind, he's thinking he will go downstairs and cast Lehman's tiny hut on the ground floor with some.
You know you wouldn't be able to do that unless you did it outside the tower.
Yeah. That's how it ignore me. Yep.
I mean, like, you could squeeze everyone up here. It would just be tight. Like if you imagine you've got 8 children, each of them are going to need like at least a 5-foot square to occupy, essentially for like to sleep comfortably. But you could like squeeze everyone in. And the windows don't appear to be able to be opened, so like they're just like to allow light in, so it might get a bit stuffy. But apart from that, probably fine. Eventually, the lift will come down and begin ferrying you guys up slowly. And kind of like while it's happening, Callan, you've got like a minute and a half if you want to, jump in on their conversation at all. They appear to be just kind of going back and forth and arguing over like past events and like even things like her saying, "I thought you had died anyway, but then you just come out of the woodwork here," and just like the constant back and forth. Callan's getting something. But yeah, so who will be next to try to go up?
I think Max will go.
Yeah. Like Seeker had like one interaction with Van Richten, I think. Like
Yeah.
Lux has had 0, so that's why I'm very hesitant on doing that.
Wait for Max. He's happy to go last. Like, we will get there all eventually. Why hurry?
Unlike Melba, who was a dick to him, Lux has no idea who he is. He just knows he was really Richten.
Guys, I need to hop off for like 5 minutes because I need to take my dog for a piss.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah.
Sure, I'll be back like in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. Just leave your camera on and just like throw something over it just so it doesn't fuck up the screen
cool.
positions.
I'll leave you on anyway. Just gotta put some trousers.
Cool.
Oh.
While Callan's up there, moving on. While Callan's up there, he's going to try his best to find a moment, if he feels it appropriate, to try and calm things down.
Sure.
But won't just kind of butt into the the argument himself.
Yeah, of course. Just make me a general. I think this would just be a general like charisma check for you. Just like this is like your reading of the situation. This isn't like you're actively persuading. Like when is the good opportunity for me to come in and like try to diffuse this? About 10. Yeah, you kind of like you find an opportunity, and it's not quite as elegant and smooth as perhaps your noble court days could have been. But yeah, after a little like interjection, they both kind of stop and look at you, and it's almost like when like two people are fighting, and then you kind of like are about to throw yourself in the middle of it. It's like what? Like at the same time.
Oh yeah, I know that. That's what I'm saying about.
Yes. Esmeralda, have you mentioned about the people downstairs at all?
I haven't got to that yet. I'm too busy trying to explain to this old man that we need somewhere safe to lie low for a night. And I'm trying to tell her that if she stays here, she's going to get all of you killed. You can't be around me. I work alone.
With all due respect, Van Richten, you work alone. Esmeralda worked alone. I have previously worked alone, and these are different times. We are seemingly on a warpath with Strahd. From your tower, you've probably noticed various things happening, and he'll kind of look towards Kazan at this point.
Yes, I saw something big flying overhead. Tried not to read too much into it. It left me alone.
Yes, it may be the reanimated skeleton of Argonvost. Just maybe. But yes, Irina, who was with us when we met in Vallaki briefly, perhaps not with us directly, but in the party. She has been taken. We think it's probably not by Strahd. She's gone into a pool of some kind. I wasn't there to witness it, but it seemed to anger Strahd somewhat, and he seems filled with fury.
Very well. Fine, I'm at least glad that the Esmeralda is keeping good company at this time. Are the rest of them downstairs coming up, I suppose? Yes, and a few more. We rescued a group of children from a werewolf den across the lake. Yes, I know about that. I was going to deal with it whenever the time came, but Strahd has been watching this area like a hawk recently. How many of them are there? 8, I think? Looks Callan, unsure.
Of the children?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 8.
But again, they cannot stay here. Again, like I say, I work alone. It is dangerous if people are around me. Esmeralda, would you like to explain to the lovely half-elf? And it's at this point that probably like Max arrives, and Esmeralda's like, Van Richten is convinced he has been cursed by a Vistani seer, so that anyone who he surrounds himself with or keeps close to him will perish at his own hand. It has happened before, and that is why you need to leave as soon as possible. Whether or not the curse is true or not, I don't know. I wasn't there when it was given, but Vistanis can give quite powerful curses. Especially when they are on death's door.
When you say surrounds you, is that in a physical sense of people in close physical proximity, or is that in a metaphorical sense, as in those to whom you ally?
Anyone I seem to get close to usually meets an unfortunate end, which is why I do my best to keep to myself for prolonged periods of time. It usually happens when I am present, I find. Most of you would find yourselves in danger if you stayed around me for too long.
Could you tell me a little more about the curse exactly? How did it happen?
It was a Vistani seer down, and the lift will begin trundling its way down. A Vistani seer who had been working for Strahd. I was getting information from her, and upon her death words, she cursed me, and it caused quite a bit of pain in my life.
What was her name?
The Vistani seer? Can't even remember anymore. Lost to time, I imagine.
Good enough for me, my character. I was like, is this the word that I've like...
She's not named. She's an unnamed Vistani.
Cool, that's fine. I was
It
like,
is in
Victavio
the
legitimately
show.
doesn't know.
just another loose end that keeps attaching together with somebody we heard in session 2.
Nah.
Okay, he will try to, he will ask, he'll address Victavia and be like, if we were to go to Castle Ravenloft to try to end this, you know, the domination of this domain by Strahd,
Yes.
would you be with us on that journey?
I would not go with you, but I could probably lend a hand. I don't know what you know about the vampire, but he has quite a large castle up there. There are many rooms, many secrets. He is going to be a formidable foe to kill. I was hoping for him to enter a small hibernation period. Eventually, after a certain amount of time, Strahd does hibernate in his coffin. I was hoping to catch him there, break into the tower while he slept and was unaware, and deal with him. But I have been waiting so far for many years, and he has not yet gone into that state. And looking at Victavio, even he's probably not the Sky Self right now. So you see the form you recognize as Van Richten. He's not a young man anymore. You know, he's probably not got long left in this place.
It certainly seems as though, perhaps since our group's arrival in this plane, we have perhaps accelerated Strahd's timeline to whatever goal he is looking to achieve next, whether it's killing us or wiping out all of the people in this place. I honestly don't know, but from the things that we've seen in the sky of his face appearing and the anger and fury, he definitely seems renewed with vigor, and I would be surprised if the hibernation plan is an option right now. Probably
not. I mean this with no offense to you. People have come to this valley before, and people have died, and at this point, probably, I imagine Lux and Seeker probably would start sending children up to, make sure that there's, 2 people on the downstairs and not leaving kids on their own. The door, by the way, because I did mention it, Ezreal would have closed the door behind her once everyone was inside to lock the place secure. And she would have relocked her wagon, same as before, so it would have taken her, a little bit of time to do. But yeah, he will lead kind of up to, like, he'll kind of like just pace around, like, people have come to this valley before and they have failed, and they will, no offense, it is likely more will fail in the future. I'm not saying you won't, but there is always a chance. If I throw all my eggs in your basket, I am dooming you because of this curse. And if we all die up there, then I will not be here to await that hibernation.
Well, perhaps at least if you know our plan, when we somehow manage to develop one, or at least understand our motivations and actions, then that should give you enough information to do your thing on your own without needing to get close to us in any sense. And if our paths cross down the line, then so be it, but it may not be through planning, or perhaps just good fortune.
Perhaps. It will, again, it will be very, very difficult. I have actually been to the tower, Esmeralda will kind of reveal. Not the tower, the castle. Fairly recently, I went there using an invisibility spell to scout it out. There's something in the highest tower that Strahd is very defensive of. He keeps a lot of sentries around it to make sure it's not being disturbed. I believe he has referred to it as the heart before, but I haven't read anything in any writings. Maybe the Amber Temple would have more? I don't know what it is, but there's something up there, something he needs. I wonder if it's perhaps something that gives him power or makes him strong. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I also have some information from back in the day. Castle Ravenloft has a crypt with treasure, and when I was last there, a few decades, I'm not sure, 20 years ago we said?
Yeah, about 20 years for...
2 decades ago, Strahd spent a lot of time in his study in the higher levels. I am not aware where precisely anymore.
The study, it lies on the second or third floor, if I remember rightly. It's just that. It's near his bedchamber, where he, you know, keeps his concubines or whatever he does to entertain himself. The tower is a labyrinth. I tried to map it out, but I had to get in and out quickly. The spell would not last long enough to keep me protected. Lux mentioned you had an invitation, though. Maybe you could go sniff around yourself. But if you are caught, he might kill you. Just something to consider.
Come one at a time, go up the lift. Hope
Yeah.
you don't get screamed at.
It's taken ages. And like eventually, one by one, like after probably about 25 minutes or so, everyone is now at the top of the tower.
Perhaps, as it seems as though a few of you have knowledge of this castle, albeit piecemeal, perhaps we could have you discussing things together to try to figure out a map or layout of some kind.
And for resting here, Van Richten, we would need at least a night to be ready to even think about going to Castle Ravenloft after taking on those werewolves, or even anywhere else for that matter. My spells are looking a bit shy. Fine, you have one night. Don't waste it.
Thank you.
This could be a crazy plan, but we could always accept that invite, and hopefully you'll be able to scout it, because he might be more isolated on us with all his. Because I mean, he's a man that likes to show off, so I'm sure he'll have all his most of his assets shown to us, I guess you could say.
Are you talking to Esmeralda or Van Richten?
Just the whole group.
Okay. Van Richten will kind of dismiss the idea. He doesn't even really respond, but Ezra's like, I could do whatever you think would be more beneficial to stick with you all or to get the move on.
But then again, we don't know what's in that castle.
Very
That is the
much
issue.
so. Like looks off into this in the general direction of the castle, he would know it.
Yep. I can, look after myself. I'm capable of going around Castle Ravenloft quietly. I got caught before I was chased out. But I was able to steal a horse and get back to safety here. Poor thing died whenever I got back. I'd rushed it so hard.
Huh.
This tower is safe from scrying magic. This is where I recluse whenever Strahd is suspicious. I think after our incident with Vallaki, he is aware that I might be here, and I am one of his greatest foes. He is definitely, as much as he is trying to take you down, he is probably trying to hunt me as well. That is why I don't feel quite safe leaving here right now.
Is the tower warded against, how do you name it? Undead.
I believe it is only against actual magics here. The only magic that it doesn't apply to seems to be the traps and the constructs that were created by the wizard who lived here before itself.
Ah. Do you have any information on the wizard at all? Do you know of him? What mage? I think people call him.
The Mad Mage is the one they said was somewhere to the north of Vallaki, north of Lake Baratok. The actual mage I'm talking of is the mage Kazan. This is his old tower.
Huh. Wrong person. No worries.
What can you tell us about Kazan exactly?
Not much. I know that he was allied with Strahd for a while. One of his assistants. I know that he came here after Strahd's transformation, and I think he advised Strahd, and I think he perhaps worked in the Amber Temple or so. Perhaps something. There was a few things left here. Talks of attempting to become a lich, things of that nature. I do not know if he succeeded or not, but this tower was empty when I got here, and no one has come to bother me since.
That is not concerning at all.
So it looks as though, and he'll kind of address the party at this point. It looks as though we have a couple of options as to where to go. One is the Mad Mage by Lake.
Zarovich.
That's the one.
Yep.
The other is to go straight to Castle Ravenloft and accept the invite, or straight to Castle Ravenloft and not accept the invite, albeit we'll likely meet more resistance that way. Or the final one I see is to visit the Amber Temple to try to gather more information on exactly what we may be up against and what could help us, although at this point I'm not quite sure.
If we wish to go to the temple, we will need some equipment. When I was there, it was snowed in.
Rictario, I think
Yes.
the name was. Do you know if the Amber Temple is a tomb of a father or a king or anything of the sort?
I believe it was simply a place of study. It is an archive of knowledge, evil, and deemed too unsafe for the world. It was locked away in there to be kept out of prying hands and eyes, things that could not be simply destroyed. I believe that is where Strahd gains his power from, but I have not made any journeys there myself. It is probably heavy watched by him, I imagine.
Right.
Also, don't forget, Ismark, the winery, we completely left that. The druids had moved in or something, remember? We said we were going to help them.
Oh,
I mean, we could help them after we just deal with Strahd, yes, but something we should still think about.
the tree was glowing, someone said.
Yes, I think one of the were-ravens mentioned it had a green glow in its heart.
Because they said they stole one of those special gems that helps them grow, didn't they?
I think
Yes.
if we're going south to the Amber Temple, and it will kind of point to the map, I assume that.
Yep, you can, if you want, I can put you on the map screen instead, if that would be helpful.
That would be helpful.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just ask and I can pop you over there, no problem.
Although I am really
Players.
liking the kind of fractal style pattern of
Yeah, the projection.
It looks really cool, doesn't it?
because we're all like all symmetrical. Because if we went to over by the left, which I think is the hill, and then that's the winery, isn't it?
So if you
Like
give me a
that side.
sec, I will actually enable all of the GM assets on the map now, and I'll be able to tell, and you'll see all the possible locations you can head to, which might help you, you know, see things here. I'm pretty sure it's all kosher, but I'm just checking there's nothing weird or wacky lying around.
As an out
It's
of
like-
character,
like-
as an out of character note, I think what we need to do is we need to try and figure out a plan and then stick to it. So if nothing else changes, and this is more for
We-
Max and he's not here, but if nothing else changes, then
We
we
do
just need to,
nothing
like
change.
we do this.
And then do
If
that.
if something develops and it's like, oh, this city's on fire now, then we have another conversation at that point, because I think a lot of what we've done in terms of wasted time has just been paralysis through analysis. We've talked through 15 options, changed our mind 10 times, and that's where I've had to come in and just be like, we're doing this. Can anyone
Yeah.
tell me why we should?
Honestly, if I were to like, the winery is the W, correct?
The winery is a W, yep.
I would honestly go to the winery, to the W, and then head to Mount Gakis over the bridge at T. If we want to go to Gakis at all, like to the Amber
If you want to go to the Amber Temple, looking at this map, those mountains are like every single one of those kind of like can't remember the actual fucking name for them. They're the things that show increments in height. That's 100 feet. Every single one of those is 100 foot on this map,
Oh, okay.
and each
Yeah, good
hex is about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah. I'm just,
Contour lines,
like, yeah.
topographical lines.
Yeah, topographical or contour lines.
Lux.
Yep.
The one thing that Lux really wants to do though is go to see the Mad Mage, because obviously that's what I think he really wants, but that's completely different direction. That's the only problem.
Yeah. So the quick question I would have is, do we know, or do you know in character something that we don't know in character about this Mad Mage?
I know about him, but all I know is he's up north above Lake Zarovich, and he's very
Because I
powerful.
think, like in character, we know Mad Mage north of Lake Zarovich kept shooting lightning bolts into the lake, etc.
I think
Kill all the fish.
Yeah, and you are like, oh yeah, Mordenkainen, my master, and
Yeah, it's my mentor.
The mage, mentor. That's the one. Oh, close. Same thing.
I think Lux has heard of the Mad Mage, and I think Lux knows that's
Yeah.
probably Mordenkainen. He would at least assume. But every single reference you've heard, you also back in Barovia, you guys heard a story of basically Mordenkainen, or not Mordenkainen. It wasn't. I don't think they ever said Mordenkainen. I think back in Barovia or back at the Serpool, the Vistani told you a story about a mage who came, riled up like a group of people in Barovia, marched into Castle Ravenloft, fought Strahd, and then was killed and thrown from the castle's rock to the river below, and and his body was never found. The Vistani team went there trying to like steal stuff from the corpse, but like must have got washed downstream.
Yeah. I mean,
They never give you a time frame for that, but
I don't think I was told that. I think Melville was told that though.
yeah, Melville was told that, but Lux hasn't been told that. But
Yeah, that's what I'm
Lux knows what people have said in Valaki, like, yeah, there's a mage north of the river, he like shoots lightning bolts at the lake.
And it just makes sense to me because that's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, like, that's the first real,
Yes.
like, notable thing you've heard that is a clue, you know?
Mm.
Or maybe Mordenkainen's dead, but...
The frog is back.
No, but yeah. Yeah, cause that's why I've got like 2 notes right now. I've got like I've got notes from Melville, and also got my newer notes for Lux. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to encounter like.
Back guy, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, no worries.
Good.
Everything okay with the dog?
Yeah, I little
It's a
bastard didn't want to
relief.
poop. Guess hasn't pooped, so I have to walk him until he pooped.
Did he grab more bread on the way?
No, he didn't.
So Max, we were just talking about sort of in a bit of out of character stuff. About firstly, we need to develop a plan for what we do next. Because we have a number of options. We can go Mad Mage, we can go Valaki, we can go Castle Ravenloft, either invited or not. We can go Amber Temple, or we can go to the winery. And we were just discussing what we should do is we should develop a plan and then stick to it. Because I think a lot of the time that we've done, that we spent has been, oh yeah, but we could do this. Oh yeah, but we could do that. And if we don't, we're just not.
And sometimes, like, we do make a plan, then, like, we kind of deviate from the plan.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's one of those things where, like, if we would go to the Amber Temple, we can hit the winery on the way because that's like kind of almost on the way. But it's like, honestly, we haven't discussed it, but I think Lux would actually still want to go like sneak back into Kresik, see the temple, see if it's still there. Because obviously the little girl, we just kind of, the reason why we kind of travelled all the way for that little girl.
Yeah.
Callan's view,
Stella.
heartless as it may be, would be that things have escalated since we took her there quite significantly, and now we've got a big target on our back, whereas before it was only a small one.
Ismark will say, as a note, although we were only in Kresik for a short time, they did seem quite kind, and there was an excitement when the child was being born there. Perhaps this might be a place to take these children. That we can't leave them here, or take them with us.
Kresik is a thing still.
True. Maybe Valaki would be safer then, but I don't think we're welcome there.
Plus,
Well,
I mean, we can
Strahd
always-
is a threat, and
we can always sneak in like we did how we snuck out.
There's
Esmeralda
sneaking,
said.
and then there's sneaking. We have over half a dozen children with us, and although that we can disguise ourselves somewhat, it's not going to be easy to just be like, hey, have these children, without them asking questions. We could probably get in with a delivery and get out, like we did, without an issue.
yeah.
But delivering children as though to an orphanage, just for surrendering them, perhaps not as easy.
Could we make it out as the Ravens people and say we rescued them from the werewolves?
Oh, did we have a long rest or yet?
Nope.
No,
No.
Okay.
that's what we're discussing before we
Did
do it.
we have a short rest at least?
Nope, you haven't had any rest.
Perhaps we should take a short rest.
Sounds
Perhaps
like-
we should take
like
it.
Van Richten has said you can have a night here if you wish to rest.
And it is getting fairly.
It's now around 7 p.m. and while you're having this conversation, I think high passive perception people over 15 would hear the sound of like wind whistling through and like the beating of wings kind of like passing nearby but not overhead.
We'd have a look. Oh, Callum with a 16, he'd be having a look out the
Yep.
window. to see.
I've got a
And I
17.
reckon the others to do the same out of their windows.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got a
You see
17.
flying away from Kresik, you see the similar green glow and this white bony figure, and you see riding adjacent to it, you see an orange glow in the distance. It is quite hard to make out in like the darkening night, especially with your dark vision, but the glow from the actual orange glow and the green together, you can see riding astride a horse, a man silhouetted on the red moon behind him, and slung over his lap, you see a slightly smaller figure. But you can't make out much more.
No, that's good.
Oh no.
Oh god, out of character. That is fucking.
At least we don't need to go back to Kresik.
It is Ismark. Who's next to us?
We still have to drop off the kids.
Where's Ismark? Yo, Ismark, come back here! No, goddamn, why are you going over there?
He had free candy, sir.
Don't you worry, I'm going! I'll get him!
And Max yeets out of the arrow slit. He like squeezes through. Falls 18 feet
Ismark,
down.
how did you get to that fucking flying creature?
I don't
mean,
know!
It's Ismark. Ismark is more than capable of getting on a fucking track.
If it's a bad outcome, Ismark is capable.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He rolled a natural one on his don't fucking teleport to Strahd check.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Callum will be like, listen, we need to settle down for the night, make sure that we can be as safe as possible, figure out who's going to sleep where, and in the morning, where are we going to go? What does everybody vote for? Let's take this as a team.
It might have been because I'm very hangover, but what's the name of fucking Ismac's sister again?
Irina.
Irina. I'm extremely bad with names, and especially my hangover.
Really?
We know Isabella.
Everyone's calling Isabella.
It's Estella.
We have to go and find Irina. I'll kind of Ismac.
We do.
Go where?
Exactly. We need to find out where she is. That should be a priority.
Okay, but Max, okay, I understand that as an objective, but what do you think step one of that plan is?
Perhaps Richten can help us. Maybe he'll know more details than we do. Maybe if we explain to him what happened, he'll be able to give us shed a light on what happened.
Very vocal.
Tell him the whole story, Max. It may be better if we hear the whole story again. There may be details that missed before in the heat of the moment.
Yep.
But let's walk through it together, and Van Richten, if you can offer anything, any insight, it'd be.
Yes.
Of course.
He's a monster hunter after all, so he probably know what happened. And then Can we discuss this while having a short rest? You know.
Sure.
Just
Of course. Yeah, you can talk about this rest. Yeah. But you can.
Yeah.
Fighters in the short rest, they're like addicts, aren't they?
Yeah, because all my abilities reset the short rest.
Well,
so.
It's like
Here's what's interesting, Max. As you start retelling this story and start bandaging your wounds and trying to rest, your mind is plagued with these horrible visions of wolves and fear and phobia, and Lux, yours is as well. The party have a short rest, but Max and Lux don't. You gain no benefit from a short rest.
What?
So,
Told you.
Callan and Seeker get one, no problem. Esmeralda gets one, Ismark gets one, no problem. Max and Lux,
Fuck!
I
Why?
don't like
No
killing
rest.
wolves. No.
Why be so mean, DM? What did I do to you?
look in your bag.
Oh fucking hell! It's the
That's why I was asking who took what from where.
Oh.
I
I knew there was any consequences.
Not to
This is
absolutely
what
shoot
you get.
myself in the foot or anything, but
You're
I've
fine.
Got, am I
No, no,
wrong?
you're-
No,
you
I
didn't-
know I've got,
You didn't take the book from the shrine. Max
already-
gave it to you.
Oh, I had a fucking feeling.
Aren't we in a magical protected things? Anyway, isn't this like hut like protected with gets magic effect and
If it,
stuff?
I mean, if it's a curse, then
Yeah,
If
It's
you're
it's protected from magical effects, not divine intervention. This is a curse of a god on you guys.
Do I know? Do I
So
know
Max and Lux, you can note down that you have the curse of Mother Night.
Does that mean the kids have it as well? Because I give the kids the money.
Well, you would assume not because you gave Callan the Book of Strahd and he's not affected by it. It seems the only heal he actually took from the pile, the treasure pile.
God!
Question is, did Max
Fuck!
give it?
You gain no
Sorry.
benefit from finishing a short or long rest. As far as you're aware, right now, you haven't tried to take one at any other time, but right now, you gain no benefit from shorts or long rest.
Wrong character.
What? Sorcerer! Use your magic. Remove this curse.
Sorcerer, remove this.
Yes, but
gold curse.
here's the beautiful clincher. Lux can't long rest to change his spells.
Wheeze.
No, the one guy who can remove.
The one guy who can do it.
Yes.
Wait. Oh, because I did take it, didn't I? Max didn't give it to me. Oh, fuck. We're gonna have to go back there and give it back. Oh no, it's probably won't fix it.
Oh, it's so fucked.
So now that we cursed, do we know where the curse is coming from and what's
Now, you guys as characters have no idea, but you're plagued by these visions of, like, wolves and, like darkness and, like, horrible, like, visions and stuff, and, like, you don't seem to get any benefit from the short rest. As a note, it is after dark, like, the sun has set, if that helps anything. But
Guys, I keep on getting visions of wolves, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Ah! Why? Why does this image just plague me? Why? Oh God! It's
Shut up.
horrible!
We want to
Ah!
see. You are scaring the children.
Every time I
Yeah.
close my sorry. So are the kids affected by it as well?
No. Just
No,
us.
because they didn't
We're
take
the
from the
one-
pile. You took from the pile and gave to them, so they're not affected. But Lux took the gems, and you took the gems and everything else. And then you distributed stuff out after.
I'd been superstitious. I think I'd probably give it. Would I put it
Oh yeah, take the gems, folks.
But I
Nothing
don't-
can
I
go
don't-
wrong stealing.
You know what?
from
I
them.
might.
Oh, that was too good to be. That was too good to be true.
Oh no, I knew it was me.
You know, I had a bad feeling about it. I was like, gods are fairly powerful here, given that not
Yeah,
gods
that's
are
a
fairly
little-
powerful as well.
Imagine if everybody took from there, we would be fucked.
I think can we? So wait. So we can't have long rest either.
You believe that taking any form of rest is impossible right now because of these visions that plague you. So you're gonna start suffering exhaustion and stuff unless you try to find some way to circumnavigate this curse. I mean, I'll let someone in the group make a religion check if they want to try to get a hint of what you might be able to do. If only you didn't use that remove curse scroll on Seeker.
Well, to be fair,
I'll
No.
do a religion check and I'll cast guidance on myself.
Sure.
I was like,
Can't cast guidance.
and I help him. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I tell him what my visions are.
Yeah, you can try to
Help
assist
himself.
and describe what you're seeing and see if Callan can put two and two together.
I don't think you can cast guidance because we're in the tower.
Yeah, his guidance wouldn't work, so just roll the
It's come up on my beyond as an 18 plus 4.
Okay.
It's not come through to the VTT.
That's fine. So that's going to be a 2-2, 22. Mother Knight, you think back to this to Valaki. Favolution said she's most powerful at night when the sun is set. So maybe they could rest in the daytime? When the Morning Lord is watching over, maybe.
Ow.
But you would have to, spend the night here, and then, you'd have to, stay up late, effectively, and then sleep in. But you're not sure if that works. That's
Okay.
Maybe I should put the gems back, but I don't think that will solve it.
No, they shouldn't. But maybe you should just stay up and then sleep during the day, and then perhaps you get your powers back, and then you can remove the curse.
Callan hasn't had a chance to tell you that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
okay. I hadn't thought us. Okay.
I'm saying that thinking of the visions because I don't get nasty visions. I'm a good person.
You probably even see glimpses of, you see the Strahd, you see that woman, that, female, lupine form, flashing past your vision, snarling bloody teeth and things. It's horrible. It's like night terrors, but you're awake.
You can probably see the Lux almost on verge of tears, because he's not used to something like this.
Look,
He's used to angels telling him he's doing a good job, and that's
I had my
it.
extra one from the
You
stream.
can do it.
God damn it.
look, Max, if you have annoyed the Mother Knight by doing this, she's probably not going to be active during the day. It'll mean that we'll need to pull an all-nighter. It'll mean that our nights will need to turn into days. Travel will be more treacherous. If we are trying to drop children off at cities that are an hour away and we're having to do it at night, then that could be even more suspicious. And yeah, but if you're needing to rest, the chances are that's the only option.
I think I might just go for a little stroll back into a lovely den that I don't want to go to. Maybe it'll work.
With a 22, would I know whether that would work or not? I don't.
It's a 22. That's more like the religion of Mother Knight and her abilities. It's not what the specific curse might be. An identify spell might help, but
No one has that.
welcome to Barovia.
Well, we've got
actually,
two
the
wizards.
components. It's right. 1 second.
Isn't Esmeralda a wizard? Maybe she has to take magic. I look at Richten and Esmeralda for guidance. Oh, what is this? Oh God!
I don't
Horrible.
know. Nothing
What
I've
is
ever
it?
seen before. It doesn't look good though.
Oh. Doesn't look good though.
It looks bad.
Max pale with fear. Oh, I've never felt this scared in my life.
Just to say, one of the gems that Lux took is a pearl worth at least 100 gold pieces, and that is the material
Yeah.
component required for the identify spell,
Mhm.
which I reckon the DM knew full well and made sure that we had that. It's not just-
No, that was actually randomly generated.
Alright, well,
That was completely randomly generated. I'm not that smart.
I mean, I was giving you credit for it, but props to you for not taking it.
Ram.
Okay, because one of the things that I was considering taking was Magic Initiate for Wizard to get Booming Blade and Mind Sliver, because Mind Sliver is verbal components only, so I wouldn't need Warcaster. And Booming Blade, obviously, to work with that, and I could really be more of a front line. And I could take as the first level spell Identify that I can do once per day, which is situational, but it's going to be potentially very useful here. And we would be able to cast it. So in the morning, I could identify what's the curse is and potentially get a bit more information on what I need to do with it.
Yeah. If you can identify what it is exactly, I also have the ability to remove curses.
You do?
Yes, I'm a cleric.
Hold up a second.
What? Remove it then! Oh god, it's horrible!
Nah,
I don't know how
Excuse
effective
me.
it works. It doesn't work on my own. The Vistani curse against me does not seem to be lifted by it. I'm not sure. Perhaps it is just this place, but my god is not native to this domain.
Who is your god?
I think now I find myself aligning more with the Morning Lord, but before it was Lathander, god of light.
That's a fairly common one, isn't it?
Yeah, you guys would have heard of Lathander from the Tavern.
yeah, I probably would have as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Lathander.
I could attempt it to cleanse you, but I cannot guarantee it would work.
I would appreciate if you could, because I could cleanse the little one if I can sleep.
I can do it for
Okay,
both of
okay.
you, and you would consider it a favor. Van Richten will take an action, and he will remove curse on Lux, and he will remove curse on Max. And the curse of overnight, you close your eyes, oh, it's gone. Oh,
Is that?
Oh.
Do they have? Hang on. Do they have to go all the way down?
yeah, it's
And out again.
yeah,
I think that's a worth of punishment.
yeah, all the way out to the wagon, like
Yeah.
5 foot away from it. He casts it, and then he nips back in. And the second he leaves the tower, his form shifts to that of Rictavio. As if like he's wearing the hat of disguise, and the second he leaves it, it turns back.
I got a feeling it's only gone temporarily. I got a
Cast it.
feeling.
You come back in, you go back up. You know, after like a 6-minute detour, you guys find yourself, and then the party can then take a short rest. Not that mean, but I just had to make you realize consequences. Lucky you went to Rictavio's tower though.
Oh, it's actually gone. I don't think it is though. I really don't.
Yeah, maybe it will be even
Wait,
worse.
we gain the benefits of a short rest. That's all we know now.
Yep.
That's all.
You
we know.
gain the benefits of a short rest.
Oh, short rest since I'm a warlock.
Yep.
So that's nice.
Are we planning on long resting here as well?
Rictavio said you could. Van Richten said you could spend a night if you wished, but no more.
I still do think I should probably put the stuff back now. I really did not like that.
Up to you.
Yeah. So what are you guys planning?
I think we should rest and think about things tomorrow.
I think we should plan before we rest so that we can mull it over in our minds, and those of us who need to prepare spells can do so knowing what we are likely to face.
I agree. I'm stuck for words, and I am very adamant on trying to locate the Mad Mage, but I understand it's not an essential task for everyone else.
In terms of proximity, the Mad Mage is likely the closest, albeit we don't have an exact location. We just know north of Lake Zarovich, although if the stories that we heard were true, he's potentially not hiding if he's throwing lightning bolts into the lake. We know an exact location and roughly what we're going to be up against at the Wizards of Wine winery. We know an exact location, but not know what we're up against if we go to the Amber
Sorry, I'm
Temple.
back.
And we need equipment if we go to the Amber Temple. I think for now, until we have a reliable way of getting to a settlement, we don't go to the Amber Temple. We rule that out.
Okay, I think if we're saying that, maybe possibly don't save the winery just yet, because that we could probably do that 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess you could say.
How do you mean?
As in, we could maybe free the winery and then travel to the Amber Temple after.
Yes, although from the map we can see, although the 2 paths are quite close, the Svalich Woods are not exactly safe terrain. So although we could nip through at a relatively narrow point to the Solenka Pass, it may not be advisable. We may be safer to spend the extra time to come back to the crossroads.
I see.
I think the most important step 1 would be to figure out what we're doing with these children. And in my mind, we have 2 options. 1 is Krezek, 2 is Valaki.
I would say Valaki is the safer bet. Honestly.
I
So,
would
would you
agree.
Perhaps
But,
we could get the priest to look after his kids for now.
but
in
I
Valaki.
do think we do maybe need to at least check on Krezek. Just for the child. Just because I still feel bad if she is somehow there still. Which I know she's not, because I know Strahd's taken her, but
It was a couple of mile and bit out.
Yeah.
It's hard to spot exactly who was over his lap. Could be anyone. Maybe it's the flesh golem.
oh yes. Plus, me and you could look like anyone, can't we, Cannon? With our magic.
within reason, yes, I can't change my height particularly well, and if anyone was to come too close or to really try to discern who I was, there is a risk of it not holding up to scrutiny.
Oh yeah, me too. But we can just keep a distance.
I mean, yours have always looked quite convincing when I've tried to have a look.
It's I learned it from my mentor.
Roll
Oh,
insight on that one for a cheeky 20
okay.
about that learned it from a mentor. Because I mean, I wasn't planning on questioning him, but then the way he said that, I was like, it's a bit sus. I was like, hey, what spell do you use? He probably wouldn't push it if he's. Oh, nice.
Mhm.
24. It's like, oh, very well. I must not know your techniques, but perhaps your mentor would be a good person to know. Why don't we then? And this is to the group. Why don't we, in the morning, once we've rested, thankfully, we go to Valaki. Lux and I will try to pass off the children, although another option would be just to get the children, send them in the direction of Valaki, and then turn and go the other way, and hope for the best. I'm not a
God.
parent. I'm not a parent. My parents barely parented. I was raised by people who were employed to do so. I know not of parental empathy.
What's
pretty
wrong
well.
with this lawful good characters in this party? Like, I swear.
Not lawful good. I was neutral. I was lawful good for about quarter of an hour.
Yeah.
This place has a bit of an effect.
Sorry.
I mean,
Can't,
lawful
we
good, if
can't
it-
leave these kids to tend to themselves. We need to make sure they're out in a secure place.
Yes, for Lucky, we can send them to the gates. the guard's problem. It's fine. Then we can go around Lake Zarovich to the north of the lake to find the mage. And then on the way back, we go Wizards of Wine Winery, down to the Amber Temple, and, you know, Fanny's your aunt, Bob's your uncle, everything's fine.
Fine. The question is, did we have a short rest, by the way?
Yes, you've now had a short rest.
Yes.
Everyone is getting the benefits of a short rest.
Okay.
So
Sounds good to me.
how does this sound then? We nicely deliver the kids to Kresik, since they seem like a happy town compared to Barovia. Barovia?
You just think
Velaki,
lucky.
sorry. And then possibly make our way to Zarovich to see if the Mad Mage stories are true. Because if it is who I think it is, it could be very helpful to have him. I would probably. I'm just a bit scared going back to that church.
If we're not planning on going off-road too much, maybe on the way back from going north of the lake, we can come back here, pick up my wagon. It'll mean we can outrun any threats on the road if we're doing a lot of traveling. It moves quite quick.
Sounds like a very
Sounds
good
like a plan.
idea.
Indeed. Also, just as a note, from a mechanics perspective, once we've had the long rest, we're probably best managing rests and resources on Beyond, because when we cast spells and stuff on there, it will take it off your resources.
Yeah,
on
automatically.
there.
Yeah, just do it all on Beyond. Just do it all on Beyond. Don't do anything on
That's
Discord
what,
anymore.
After the long rest.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're midway through now.
I mean, I'm still, I'm taking it all from Beyond anyway now.
I mean, I will throw it there. The Van Richten Star is a safe place to rest. So if you guys are choosing to rest here, then you can safely assume you will get one. The magic warding around you, you're untraceable in here. Like, one werewolf got away, he didn't know where you were going, so.
An army of werewolves are waiting outside the town.
Why do I have a feeling if you long rest in here, something's gonna happen? I don't know.
So this is probably the safest place we've long rested.
Wait, where's that face? Harnaa?
No. He's not doing it because we've hit on something. That's the face of somebody who's joyful in their gaslighting of things.
Yeah.
That's the face.
We can't sleep. We have to stay up forever. Not safe. He gave us a hint whenever we were cursed. We weren't supposed to sleep.
Just one more hit, and we'll be
That
fine.
one, it's Insomnia Strahd.
Laughs in Warforge. Well, at least they sleep.
At least we're rich, bitch. Ah! At least.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the plan then. Rest, drop the kids off at Velaki, go to the north, see what happens with the Mad Mage, and then I think we don't really make much of a plan after that, because that could potentially push us very much one way or the other.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
I think that's a
If
good plan.
everyone's comfortable with that. Wonderful.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds perfect.
There's Esmeralda's wagon, by the way, because you'll probably be spending some time with that thing.
Question as well, Opal. Do you want us to roll HP on natural roll 20?
You can roll it anywhere as long as I can see the results. It's fine.
Because I think we're
So
going to
are you happy if we level up and stuff now?
Yeah, you can have you get the benefits of a long rest, and you level up to level 9. With all of the Taroka reading completed, Irina delivered to Kresik, albeit whether or not the outcome was a good or bad one, you're still not sure.
So that's 2d6.
Alright, so where is my HP rolls?
3 and 7, not the worst.
You ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready for love?
It's only one below
Yes, I am. Oh,
max. Okay.
I got one.
Headphone users.
Go on. What happened?
No,
Just being loud.
Singing with headphone users. It's like Casmus when he's got open mic and starts whistling. When
So
Sorry.
All right.
I've got,
Are you
8,
ready?
I've got 18 cons, that's plus 4, so it's 8 plus 6.
Wait, hang on. Hello? What?
Let me just think.
Hey.
Let's go, Max. 2 10s. Pow!
Also, quick
No!
question.
Fuck me! Why?
2 10s, pow!
Hey, where did he roll?
No,
What the
20.
Fuck!
Oh,
He got a Desmond.
I rolled on.
Yeah, it's cool. As long as it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we
quick
can see it, it's fine.
question, quick question: should I take? Do you have any good feats, or should I take the ASI for extra AC and some saves?
So I'm going to call a little
Jesus.
break here so we can level up our characters, and we'll come back after the break once the characters will be leveled up. So we will be right back.
This, what?